As our White House correspondent Owen Jensen mentioned before, the fate of political prisoners in China was a key focus during the high-level talks. President Trump revealed that while he's pushing for progress, Xi Jinping described Jimmy Lai's case as especially tough, leaving the Catholic former media mogul's future hanging in a delicate diplomatic balance. Joining us now in studio is Claire Lai, Jimmy Lai's daughter. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
What was your reaction when President Donald Trump publicly raised the possibility of your father's release during the summit discussions with Chinese President Xi Jinping?
Gosh, I mean, we are so grateful to President Trump and his administration for their continuous support and, commitment to my father's freedom. I mean, President Trump first raised it in South Korea back at the end of 2025 and has raised it again this time, and we are just so extremely grateful. Of course, the dream was for my father to come back on Air Force One, but I remain extremely confident that it's him and his administration that will secure the release of my father. And I think we first heard it in an interview yesterday from Secretary of State Rubio, and we are also extremely, extremely grateful for him and his support.
Now, this has been a heart-wrenching situation for you and your family from an emotional standpoint. You've relied heavily on your faith. Now, yesterday was a special day. Can you share with us what your thought process is now moving forward?
Absolutely. So yesterday was the day of Ascension. So that's when, Jesus ascended into heaven. And prior to that, he had promised that he was going up so that he could send the Holy Spirit down. So, between in the days that follow, I hope that the Holy Spirit might move President Xi's heart, and he might see the wisdom in releasing my aging and ailing father, who, has done nothing wrong. I mean, he is a man who was anti-violence, pro-democracy, pro-free press, free speech, and, anti-Hong Kong independence. And all he wanted was for the rights that China promised in the Sino-British Joint Declaration, to be kept, for those promises to be kept. And, it's everything he did at the time he did them was perfectly legal. That's why in his latest trial, like 99% of the things they pulled out was from prior to the national security law coming into force.
Now, so many people are lifting you and your family up in prayers throughout this process. What would be your message to President Trump and other U.S. leaders, as they continue to potentially have some talks, with Beijing?
So, I think for me, we remain extremely, extremely grateful for their support of my father, our family, and my father's freedom. My father, he is a symbol of freedom for so many, but he is, he's a symbol of hope. He's a symbol of faith, and he's, I think, possibly even more since his imprisonment, because, in the silence of his cell and in the, intensity of his suffering, he really has learned just the abundance of God's mercy and the abundance of his grace. And I think, it's something that is really without bounds, and you don't really, until physically you're really in a pit, you don't really realize it, and it's something we are so extremely grateful for. And I know that our good Lord and the Blessed Mother will continue to watch over him as they always have.
And we know this is always, a bit difficult and emotional to do. We really appreciate you coming on, talking with us, giving us some updates. And of course, our prayers are with you, your father, and your family. Claire Lai, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.